Greetings from G Adventures. My name is Erin, and I'm going to be taking you on a tour around the globe today. If you haven't heard of G Adventures before, we've been in the business since 1990. We specialize in taking our travelers to all corners of the globe and offering over 650 itineraries to choose from. We are here in partnership with Expedia Cruises to share with you some travel inspiration for this year and beyond. So at G Adventures, we like to take you off the beaten path. We get up close and personal in destination. We get local. So you're not just seeing the world through the eyes of a tourist, you're actually a traveler with us. We also like to get a little bit lost when we travel. We go around the globe in small groups, and these are led by our local guides. So guides from the destination are full of amazing experience. They're able to teach you about the history and the culture of the area. They can translate those menus, and they're your built-in best friend to join you on this amazing experience. We use local accommodations where we travel, so we want to make sure that the money is going back into those local communities. Plus, the local places that we stay at have lots of character and charm. We like to include unique dining experiences when you travel with us because travel and food really do go hand in hand. We carefully select the restaurant partners to make sure that you're experiencing some of the most delightful delicacies of the area that you've chosen to travel to. All of our tours are built to support local communities. You may have guessed by now, by using local transportation, staying on locally owned properties, employing local guides. We are making sure that that tourism dollar is being put to good. We've been pioneers of community tourism since the day we started back in 1990. So what that means is that we've always created our tours by building meaningful relationships with local communities that directly benefit the people and places that we visit. So with G Adventures, you're able to have a life-changing travel experience, and your tourism money is going to be used for good. Now, when you're booking a tour with us, it's just a deposit that you need to commit to your Expedia Cruises consultant. That deposit is usually $350 Canadian per person. Your final balance isn't due until 60 days prior to travel, so that gives you lots of time to get organized for your travels. The deposit is good for life, so if something comes up and you need to change your travel plans, you can do that. The deposit will stay on file for you to use down the road, or you can even pass it along to a fellow traveler or friend. We don't charge any single supplements on our tours, so we have a lot of solo travelers that go with us. We like to say that you can travel solo, but you're never alone with G. So with our local guides, you're protected for your safety reasons in destination, and you have that great camaraderie of traveling with a small group. And I should mention our groups are really small. Some of our tours have a maximum group size of 6, some are 8, some are 12, most are about 16 maximum that you're going to be traveling with. At the end of the day, we like to include lots of flexibility, freedom, and fun, regardless of which destination you've chosen. We also want to make sure that you know that when you travel with us, you can feel confident that we're going to take care of you. From the time before you join us to when you arrive, while you're on tour, and before you leave, we're going to be checking in with you. All of our guides have gone through extra health and safety COVID guideline trainings to make sure that we're able to safely operate tours all around the world. And we've been operating tours in the time of COVID since September 2020. So we are very experienced in what this new world of travel looks like. In fact, we're going to be operating our 1,000th tour since COVID hit, coming up in just a week. Now, when you're traveling with us, as of October 1st, we have 2 different types of tours that you can choose from. You can choose to join a vaccinated tour where you know that all travelers, the CEOs, which is what we call our local guides, will have received full COVID vaccination with the final dose given, of course, at least 14 days prior to the first day of the tour. Or you can choose to join a travel ready tour, which means that travelers may have that full vaccination of the COVID vaccine, or they would alternatively have to arrive with a negative PCR test that's taken within 96 hours prior to the start of the tour. So you have the option, you can speak to your Expedia Cruises consultant about what that looks like. We also want to let you know, I guess to say, that G Adventures has received the World Travel and Tourism Council's Safe Travel Stamp, which means that our health and safety protocols are in alignment with this amazing international organization. But we're here today to talk about destinations. We want to let you know where we're traveling to, where our travelers want to go, and put some of these destinations on your bucket list. Our absolute number one destination for our travelers is Peru. In 2019, in fact, we hosted over 20,000 travelers on our Peru tours. It is cradle to the vast Incan Empire, which is the largest in pre-Columbian America. Peru's power and gold attracted the Spanish conquistadors who used it to fund their own empire in the Americas. As a result, colonial gems like Cusco were built on Incan foundations. So it's a really interesting place to visit where you see a mishmash of ancient history and modern culture. There are three major regions in Peru to visit. The coastal area where you find the capital of Lima, the Andean region where you find Cusco and of course Machu Picchu, and the Amazon region where you'll find incredible nature and wildlife. Our tour that we want to feature is called Amazon to the Andes. So it visits all three of these regions. On this particular tour, it's a nice mix of beauty, scenery, wildlife, and culture as you visit a historical site of Machu Picchu, but you spend a bit of time also relaxing or exploring in the Amazon jungle. Now, the tour itself has a lot included. So this is how it works for G Adventures. Our tours include the start, transportation from when you arrive into destination. So your Expedia Cruises consultant will be able to organize the flights, maybe booking them with us, or you may be doing something on your own for that. We take care of you right from when you start the tour. So in any of our tours where you see these kind of maps, where there's little airplanes in destination, those flights are included. So start to finish, all of your transportation is included, as well as the accommodation and the services of our CEOs, which is again what we call our local guides. In this particular tour, we have some hiking. So you see the little hiking man there on the Inca Trail, and we've got a few stops along the way. We support a lot of programs around the world called G for Good projects. In this particular tour, you get to have two G for Good project experiences. The first is visiting a women's weaving cooperative, and the second is visiting a community tourism restaurant program. Now, highlights on this tour, of course, starting and ending in Lima, the city of the kings. We fly to Cusco, which is the heart of the Incan Empire. We spend a couple days in Cusco in the Sacred Valley, acclimatizing to the higher elevation. We do an Inca Trail walk, which is 4 days over higher elevation, and that's guided by one of our Inca warriors. What that means is that you are not going to have to carry all your things with you. We take care of all of the heavy lifting on this. Your camping equipment is provided. All you need to do is pack your day pack and make sure you get one foot after the next, getting all the way along the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu. At Machu Picchu, we do a half-day guided tour where you're guided around, again, by our Inca warrior, and who's going to spend a lot of time explaining the sites to you. From there, we take the train back to Cusco. We fly onwards into the Amazon jungle, where we spend 2 nights overnight exploring. So 3 days with our naturalist guide, guided excursions, rubber boots included, and you're going to be off exploring in the morning, late afternoon, and probably even in the evening to see all the creepy crawlies. The lodge we stay at is operated in the Tambopata Rainforest Reserve, and it's very, very much off the grid. From there, we fly back to Lima, where you continue on your way home. Now, Cusco is a gem of a city. If you've been there before, you will have to agree with me. Central Plaza, beautiful colonial architecture, incredible church, really delicious food. There's lots to see and do around Cusco, including museums, churches, checking out local restaurants. There's horseback riding, archaeological sites, mountain biking, there's river rafting, or you can just relax. Or you may want to check out a local Incan ruin along the way. Highlight on this tour is doing the Inca Trail. So that again is 4 days over 40 something kilometers. So you're hiking up to 12, maybe 16 kilometers in each one of those days. On this particular journey, you are accompanied not only by your Inca warrior guide, but also by our porters, and they do an amazing job of taking care of you. The food on the Inca Trail is delicious. The tents are set up for you. Your sleeping bags are rolled out. It's a very comfortable kind of camping. At the end of your journey, you get to see Machu Picchu, the absolute highlight. The best time to see it is in the early morning. So we get up super early, usually at 3 a.m. to finish that last day of hiking before we walk into Machu Picchu with our local guide. We've got local insights coming to us from our Inca warriors, where we get to see the Temple of the Sun, the Temple of the Water, the Room of Three Windows. And this, of course, is all in this 15th century UNESCO World Heritage Site. One of the great things to do at Machu Picchu is get a little tourist stamp in your passport, just as a reminder that, of course, you've been there. If you are not interested in doing the hike, we have a train option too. So if you are traveling with someone that's super keen to do the hike and you're maybe not so interested, you can split and then you would connect back at Machu Picchu for the guided tour together. Now, the Jungle Lodge I mentioned earlier, this is what it looks like. This is a great area in the Amazon, super lush. The lodge itself is comfortable, pretty small, really nice and cozy. It employs a lot of people from the surrounding communities. So local community members make up most of the majority of the lodge staff. There's a multinational, multilinguist naturalist guide who's going to join you for exploration in the day to teach you about the flora and the fauna of the area, to let you know kind of how the locals use the medicinal plants and the other forest plant resources, including building, fishing, and hunting. Really, really incredible experience. You can even try your hand at fishing for piranha if that's on your radar. Another destination that is very popular for our travelers is the Galapagos. A lot of people do the Peru and Galapagos together. They are neighboring countries, of course. Really nice balanced trip if you want to go and see the history and culture around Peru and then combine it with the nature and beauty of the Galapagos Islands. Of course, here you find animals you won't find anywhere else on the planet. Our feature tour is actually aboard a brand new ship that's being built for us. It should be ready in January of 2022. It is called the Reina Silvia Voyager. We have dates for this tour out right through until the end of 2023. So if you are forward planning, make sure to speak to your Expedia Cruises consultant to get some dates locked in for this year, well, for next year, sorry, starting in 2022 or beyond. There are 2 itineraries to choose from, whether you want to go to the west or whether you want to go to the central and east islands. Main difference here is the eastern route visits more areas with human habitation, as there's human population on Santa Cruz and on San Cristobal, pardon me. And then the western route's a little bit more remote. So there are people in Santa Cruz, Floriana, and Isabella, but it's just not too many tourist or traveler boats go over to the west side of Floriana and Isabella. In the Galapagos, you get to see creatures like this. So sea lions on the beach almost everywhere you go, blue-footed boobies, which are the postcard animals of the islands. The finches are the creatures actually that Charles Darwin based his theory of evolution on. So you see lots of different finches in the islands. Sally Lightfoot crabs make up some really great photos, as do the giant Galapagos land iguanas or the marine iguanas. You got to watch out for these guys if you're walking along the beach because they do swim in the sea. Green sea turtles, pardon me, you can find almost all of the snorkeling sites that we visit. And if you're more interested in the land dwelling, we have the giant land tortoises to see too. So all the excursions are included. We do snorkeling once or twice a day. All meals are included on board, and it's a very comfortable way to see the Galapagos Islands. Your ship, the Reina Silvia Voyager, holds just 16 travelers. So it's a very boutique experience. It's catamaran style in design, and we've got a naturalist guide on board who's going to be out there snorkeling with you, swimming in the waters and guiding you on some beautiful walks. There are sun decks on board. There's a jacuzzi. A lot of the cabins have private balconies, and this is what the cabins look like inside. So just 16 passengers. Again, the naturalist guide is going to introduce you to these beautiful islands, and we're going to have some morning and evening catch-ups in this nice lounge area. If you're looking for something different to do and need a bit of a break, we do always recommend Costa Rica. We have a really great wellness tour in Costa Rica that is really just waiting for you. It's 8 days. It's out of San Jose, Costa Rica, and it's a really nice balance of yoga sessions, meditation, some healthy food, some hiking, and rejuvenating trips to thermal hot springs. The itinerary itself loops around from the capital. So again, all of your transportation's included. We have some meals included in this, but not all. Our guides and destination will be able to assist for dining options with lunch and dinners. The itinerary is a really nice balance. I mean, I think everyone needs a wellness tour right now. We visit a G for Good project at Capicolo, which is where or Capacito, pardon me, which is a coffee cooperative that we support and helps to supply over 200 farmers with some pretty amazing living wages. So great experience there where you get to see coffee plantation, do some coffee tasting, and maybe buy some souvenirs for home. La Fortuna, we stay at a stunning property that is right alongside a now dormant volcano. We are doing some yoga on site. We get out to see some hot springs in the area, and then lots of active options in La Fortuna, including hiking, mountain biking, or horseback riding. We continue on to Rincon de la Vieja, where we go in for therapeutic mud baths. And then we end this tour with a trip to Playa Carrillo for some time on the beach before we go back into San Jose. So some of the sites along the way, this is the lodge that we're staying at in La Fortuna. It's called the Hotel Arenal Manoa Hot Springs, where we joined the group for our first included yoga session on the hotel grounds with this beautiful view. If you want to just relax, you are most welcome to do that. I mean, with this kind of surroundings, we can't blame you. A lot of our tours are that flexible, so it's a bit of a choose your own adventure when you travel with us. You can also explore some of the beautiful waterfalls in the area. So from La Fortuna, we travel to the Guanacaste area where we head to Rincon de la Vieja National Park. We do yoga sessions, we stay at an eco lodge, and then there's a little bit of free time in this area to explore lush jungles with beautiful flora and fauna, to get into bubbling mud baths, or to just escape from the craziness of daily life. We've got a little bit of free time built into this too, so you can pick and choose what you'd like to do. Some of the properties that we're staying at have these great little hammocks, so just to encourage even more relaxation. And the one that we stay at the end at Playa Carrillo is absolutely stunning. We do lots of yoga sessions on the beach here, and this tour is available to people of all different yoga levels. So something to put on your radar for next year. Kicking up and down the temperature a little bit here, Iceland, the land of fire and ice. We have a Best of Iceland tour that is 7 days. It's a fast but full trip around Iceland. It's got tons of hidden gems that you won't see anywhere else on the world. So erupting geysers, glacier lagoons, waterfalls, black sand beaches. It's really a great adventure destination. Flights actually to get to Iceland are pretty inexpensive and pretty short when you're flying up over the Arctic too. So here's the route for our Iceland tour. We start in Reykjavik. We go to Akureyri, where we have a chance to go do some whale watching. Lake Mývatn to see some puffins. Over to Björgafjörður to stay in a little tiny remote village where we're staying in a local guest house. Hoffin is where you'll find the glacier lagoon. Vik for some black sand beaches and some waterfall chasing. And then we round up the tour with the Golden Circle visit, which is on most everyone's itinerary for Iceland. Some beautiful sights to see along the way, very peaceful nation. It's 300,000 people population, makes it quite quiet. Nice climate, you can visit there year round with G Adventures. You always need to pack multiple layers when you're traveling to Iceland, of course, because the weather can change pretty quickly. It doesn't get too cold in the winter, unlike the name. It is a little deceiving. This is up in Mývatn. This is the Dettifoss Cliff. And Björgafjörður, this is a little village that we're staying in, so we keep it nice and local. All of our guides, of course, are local to Iceland, so they're going to teach you also about the Viking culture, a little bit about the history of this Arctic island, and a bit about their theory on trolls. The penguins of the north are always a desirable sighting when anyone's traveling up into this area of the world, and for avid photographers, there is really nothing like this glacier lagoon that you'll find at Jökulsárlón. Now, the itinerary rounds out with another waterfall viewing at Gullfoss, and my personal recommendation to anyone traveling here is to make sure you go into the gift shop at Gullfoss to have the lamb soup. It's absolutely delicious. Quite a few more destinations to get through on our journey around the world, and Italy. So this is one of our tours that we're running in partnership with our friends over at National Geographic. What that means to our travelers is that this tour has been built by the G Adventures team in conjunction with our friends at Nat Geo. We have a bit more focus on history, archaeology, culture in our National Geographic tours. We also have a little bit more comfort added to the accommodations, breakfast included daily, and we'll pick you up at the start too. Now, the tour starts in Venice, goes all the way to Rome. This is a great tour. If you've been to Italy before and you want to go back and see some sites, or maybe if this is your first time, this is a really amazing overview of the whole area in just a short period of time. We visit sites like the Cinque Terre National Park. We see some arts in Florence. We do some pizza eating, of course, in Naples. We do limoncello tasting in Sorrento. We walk the gods in Amalfi. We meet up with an archaeologist in Pompeii, and we end this tour with an orientation walk in Rome. Now, sites that you'll see, of course, are out of Renaissance books. Lots of beautiful culture. I don't know a single person that's been to Italy that doesn't want to go back just yet. This is a view from one of the places that we stay at in Sorrento. And this is a view from one of our walks that we do in Florence in the evening, usually as the sun sets, just like in this photo. The Amalfi Coast is something out of postcards. If you haven't been there yet, I'm sure one of your Expedia Cruises consultants has and can tell you all the amazing things about this part of the world. Beautiful area to visit, and why not in a National Geographic tour. Another area where you'll find a lot to do with history is Egypt. It's a country of rugged, harsh beauty mixed with reminders, which was once probably the most impressive ancient civilization history ever knew. Egypt tours have been doing really well for our Canadian travelers. We've been running trips in Egypt for years, but in the time of COVID, we've been running these since last January. And it's just the right time, I think, to visit this part of the world. It's very quiet in destination, which means that the Egyptians are just so excited to have our travelers there. Our Egypt Upgraded is probably my favorite itinerary that we do in Egypt. It is 12 days. It includes a 3-day Nile cruise. There's a lot of included activities. It covers quite a bit of ground, as you'll see in the next slide. So you get to see the secrets of the Great Pyramids. You meet the people alongside the Nile River. It's a nice combination of comfortable transportation and included domestic flights that allow you to travel a lot of ground. So we start in Cairo. We do a visit up into Alexandria to see both the coast and to see the library and get into the catacombs in this area. We, of course, visit the pyramids in Cairo. I don't know how we couldn't. In fact, our hotel that we stay at in Cairo has the pyramids in sight. So if you have breakfast or lunch or dinner on the patio, or if you even just look out your hotel room, you're already at the pyramids. We do a guided visit of the Egyptian Museum. We fly down into Aswan. We go out into Abu Simbel. We have a boat ride to a Nubian village. We also do that 3-night Nile cruise along between Aswan and Luxor. We get into the Kamb Ombo temples, and we go out on an excursion to the Valley of the Kings. So lots to see in this part of the world. As you know, Cairo is the hub of all of this ancient Egyptian culture. So first thing we do is get out to see the Giza pyramids, once located in a remote desert, which are really right now just kind of the suburbs of modern Cairo. As I mentioned, you can see these from our hotel property. Up in Alexandria, you have a bit of a break from the temperatures, and this was founded by Alexander the Great in about 331 BC. So this is Egypt's only Mediterranean city, so a little bit different vibe, a little bit more European vibe here, and cool sea breeze. Abu Simbel Twin Temples, we travel out by caravan. It's about 2 hours that we spend around the site to learn about the construction history and the relocation of these temples, which would be under Lake Nasser if it wasn't for the modern wonders of modern engineering. From there, we get out into Kambombo to see the beautiful site right on the right on the, the banks of the Nile. This temple is dedicated to the crocodile god, so you can actually still see the remains of an ancient mummified crocodile that was worshipped here thousands of years ago. Hard to really even explain the magnificent history in Egypt without walking your own feet there in the Karnak temple. Hopping over into Thailand, a little bit different itinerary here. So Thailand is the land of smiles. On this tour, we do a really great, again, overview of Thailand. It's 2 weeks. So if you're one part beach bum and one part culture fiend, this tour is pretty much the best balance. We've got lots of dates available. I had indicated one there just as a reminder that we've got 2023 dates out for some of our itineraries. So if you are not planning for 2022, we've got 2023. Or if you want to go sooner, we're going to be opening up more and more departures in the coming months. Right now, in fact, for October, we have over 360 tours that are going to be running. So if you're ready to pack your bags and get out of town now, definitely talk to your Expedia Cruises consultant about which tours are operating in this month. Now, on this particular tour, we have lots to do and see. So we travel from Bangkok out to Kanchanaburi. We see the bridge over the River Kwai. We go into Ayutthaya, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. We travel up to Chiang Mai to see the markets and the temples and probably eat some of the delicious Northern Thai food. We fly back down to Bangkok. We fly onwards and get out into the island. So this is the beach bum part of the tour. So we're going for a beach barbecue. We do snorkeling trips. We go through different islands. We have lots of free time. There's options to do some paddling there. So if you want to get out into kayaks, then our team will be able to organize it for you. Bangkok itself is such a great city. If you haven't been there before, it's got so much going for it. The food obviously is amazing. There's so many really great temples. There's great little tours that you can do along the rivers, and the people are outstanding. One of the temples that we love to get into is called Wat Po. This temple is known for the reclining Buddha, which has feet that are covered in mother of pearl, engravings of Buddhist symbols. There's beautiful grounds around there, and it's also the birthplace of traditional Thai massage, which we do recommend trying out. The River Kwai, we have a visit to see a piece of World War II history. I'm sure you've probably heard of the bridge over the River Kwai. This is definitely the real thing. It's massive, majestic, imposing, and has a beautiful view of the river below. Getting up into Chiang Mai, we visit Wat Phra Thai Du Suset. It's a mouthful. It's a golden Buddhist temple outside of Chiang Mai. There's 300 steps that you can step up to be rewarded with some stunning views. Another great thing to do in this part of the world is to take a tuk-tuk adventure. So you can learn how to drive a classic Thai tuk-tuk. Set off on a full day adventure through northern Thailand, exploring with your own guide or with someone else in the tour, exploring with them too, going past rice fields and temples as you get into some of the countryside. You go for an included local lunch. And then we have a kind of a pick up, drop off organized for the hotel. This is one of the optional activities that you can organize in destination with our guides. One more temple before we get to go south. This is actually from Ayutthaya, which I had this in a little bit reverse order here. So this was the capital of Thailand from the 14th to 18th centuries. It was ranked as one of the most magnificent cities in the world at that time. So this one's about 86K north of Bangkok. So we go on this tour of Bangkok to Kanchanaburi, Ayutthaya, and then Chiang Mai, and then back down. And then after that, it's beach, beach, beach. So we go to Koh Nagai, which is a pristine paradise. We've got options to snorkel, relax, swim, or go on some rainforest trails to some deserted beaches. We've got another snorkeling area here over at Koh Churk. We also get out to Koh Mook, and then we spend some time on Koh Lanta, which is an easier one to pronounce. We have a trip on ferry that goes into Krabi, where we have some nice time to explore the town or relax on beautiful beaches. So this tour is really 1 week Bangkok North and temples, and then 1 week Bangkok South and beaches. Two other destinations I wanted to include in the presentation, and this is one of my faves, South Africa, where you can safari in style. So this is our Explore Southern Africa tour, part of our National Geographic Journeys collection, which means the accommodations, again, are upgraded. We've got meals included every day. You're picked up at the airport, and we have amazing National Geographic special inclusions for all of these tours. On this particular one, we start in Cape Town with an orientation tour around Cape Town. We get into Kirstenbosch Botanical Gardens. We go to Cape Point to see the penguins at Boulder Beach. From there, we fly up to Joburg, where we have a traditional braai, a South African barbecue. We take the panorama route through Blythe River Canyon. We spend some time in Kruger National Park with some wildlife safari drives. And then we spend some time in Karangwe Private Reserve, again, with some wildlife safari drives. We're staying in boutique properties. So in Kruger, it is a private game lodge, which now we call safari lodges. And then in Karangwe, it is a beautiful tented camp. And in your tent, this is a tent that's upstairs on a platform with a hot shower, a flushing toilet, and a beautiful restaurant to join at. And there's actually even a pool and a watering hole where you'll find hippos in the back. Now, from there, we travel up to Victoria Falls, where you get to walk around and explore Vic Falls, meet some locals, and enjoy a local family dinner. A couple of the highlights, of course, Cape Town is a world-class city. So you are exploring Cape Town, probably eating all their delicious food, seeing the penguins, taking in the sights. Up from Johannesburg, we travel the panorama route through Blythe River Canyon, where we go onwards into Kruger National Park, which is 19,000 square kilometers full of wildlife. From here, we are going out on daily safaris, usually twice daily, actually, with our guides. Our guides are safari specialists, so they're going to be able to locate not quite all of the 147 species that are in Kruger, but pretty darn close. Off into this area of Africa, you'll find a lot of the cats. So if you're interested in seeing big cats, I would recommend South Africa for sure. On this initiative that we partnered with National Geographic to support the Big Cats initiative. So what we do in Karangwe is we actually go out on safari with someone who studies and researches for National Geographic, who's going to teach us all about the cheetahs in the area and how they want to reintroduce them into the wild. So this is what the safari experience looks like with G Adventures in Africa. In addition to this destination, we do run tours in Uganda, Rwanda, Kenya, Tanzania. We operate in Namibia, Madagascar, lots to see and do in this area of Africa if you're interested in seeing some incredible wildlife like this. Now, the last destination I wanted to feature today is one of the cooler ones. It's Antarctica. We operate and own our very own vessel in Antarctica called the G Expedition. This is a great destination if you're ready for an adventure of a lifetime. Antarctica is a continent of superlatives that leave your mind describing, trying to find words to describe it. It's just so incredible. So each day is really a new discovery. We run this as an expedition tour. So we have an idea, of course, of where we're going, but where we actually stop in the days is going to depend on the weather and our amazing team of expedition guides. You are guaranteed to step on Antarctica and to walk with penguins. That's a for sure thing. But what the day by day looks like, it can be a little bit different. So no 2 days are the same. Our itineraries are 11 days. They run out of Ushuaia, Argentina, and we travel across the Drake Passage in this G Expedition ship. It is red because we're a Canadian company. It has equipped with an incredible level of safety. We've got one expedition guide for every 10 travelers on board, and we're traveling through the Antarctic Peninsula and the South Shetland Islands. Passing huge icebergs in a flat calm of a polar morning will just reshape how you look at the world. You're both traveling in something that feels like a snow globe and also something that feels like a dream. The ship itself is beautiful. We take an amazing care of it. There are shore excursions included in all of our Antarctica tours. They're typically 2 to 3 hours long. There's at least one a day. Usually we try to get 2 in depending on the weather. They're led in these zodiacs. Travelers exiting the ship go through our mudroom down a set of stairs. It's incredibly safe. There's about 4 people usually assisting you getting in and out of the Zodiacs. And once you're in, you are off on exploration. Excuse me. The Zodiacs will take you to see some of the most beautiful sights that you'll ever see in your lifetime, including ones like this. Penguins are all around in Antarctica, and if you're lucky, you'll also see some of these guys too. Whales can be found throughout the Antarctic across the whole season, but February and March is a little bit better for whale spotting. And if you're interested in seeing the penguin babies, I would recommend booking for January or February. In addition, we have opportunity to see some great seals in Antarctica. This is the leopard seal, the biggest predators in Antarctica next to the orcas. They're known for their ferociousness and they have a jaw like a crocodile. Kinder, friendlier fur seals and Weddell seals are also common to see in this area. But most often, you're going to be looking for the penguins and the penguin babies. These are the Gen 2 penguins, and we see them everywhere. A beautiful experience. If seeing penguins in Antarctica is on your radar, now is the time to get organized to book yourself a spot. Again, we only have space for 134 travelers on our ship, so it does sell out every season. On board, you have the utmost hospitality from our expedition staff. We have an open bridge policy. We have a photographer on team that teaches you how to use your cameras. We have an artist in residence to teach you how to paint penguins. We have musicians, we have historians, we have marine biologists, and we have an all-around amazing hospitality team to welcome you on board or back on board. We have a lot of travelers that repeat with us and go to see Antarctica a second time, or maybe take their second trip on the G expedition up in the high Arctic looking for polar bears. Either destination, you'll see ridiculous, beautiful landscapes and have really the chance of exploring in a way that not very many people get the chance to do. So getting out there with your provided parka, sitting in these Zodiacs to see these penguins is just the utmost of adventure. Now, if you are interested in learning more about G Adventures, our brochures for 2021 and 2022 are available. Please do check in with your agent, your Expedia Cruises consultant for access. Now, we do have a World Explorer special happening for the month of October. So book by October 31st for 15% off select G Adventures tours for travel right through until next year, October 31st. So if you want more information on this, please contact your Expedia Cruises consultant for details. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone, and we hope to see you on adventures sometime soon.